Hi, this is Numeric Citizen here. In today's video, I want to talk about how to use Craft for building and maintaining digital garden and how to use Grammarly with Craft. Let's get started. First, let's define what is a digital garden. It's a virtual place where you put things that are interesting for you. It can be articles, it can be bookmarks, it can be photos, diagrams, anything that is somehow related to your interest or your domain of interest. A digital garden can be seen as personal wiki, or some people will think they are more like a second brain. I don't like the use of second brain term for defining what is a digital garden, because I think it's more, I like the idea of gardening or nurturing something that you care about and that you kind of manage or make things evolve within a virtual space that is really reflecting your interests, your content creation journeys, and this is how I prefer to define what is a digital garden. Now the question is Craft good at designing, creating and maintaining a digital garden? And the short answer is yes. Craft is a great tool for writing content, for organizing things together in specific domains of information. It's great for defining a great visual look to your digital garden, and it's pretty fast to publish updates about recently added contents, for example. So let me show you my digital garden that I created kind of 2 years ago when Craft came out. So I'll show you the website actually. So this is the main page of my digital garden, which is called the Numeric Citizen Digital Garden. So it's pretty simple page. It's a bit busy, but it's something that you will find if you look for a digital garden on the web. You'll see that there is a lot of different look to them, and some are more simple in nature, some others are more busy, and I would say that mine is kind of in the middle. So the main page is structured like this. I'm using a lot of tiles, the Craft tiles for that, a lot of images, because I like things when they are great looking. And at the end of the main page, there's this map which actually shows what's the structure of my digital garden. So on the right, it's more about posting summaries or highlights of my recent published content. But on the left, it's more about my domains of interest, or the things that I like and I want to keep an eye on. And also different things related to learning, reading, musing, or even I have a blog roll. So that's the map of my digital garden. So if I go up the main page, you'll see there is a few quick links, shortcuts, where the visitor can click on those, and they will be brought to a specific section of the digital garden. So it's kind of a navigation aid, if you like. Again, if I go back here, there's other shortcuts where it will bring me to a more specific space within the garden. And this is because the actual content is kind of deeper within the structure, so it's kind of a rapid way, a quick way for the user to get to a specific thing. So here is the Apple Rumors Hub that I'm maintaining. As you might already know, I'm a big fan of Apple products and the Apple company, this history and things like that. So I have a kind of a sub portion of my garden which is about Apple rumors. Those are classified by product line. So you can look at the latest iPhone rumors there, and there's a summary at the top, and then at the bottom you'll see the list of recent rumors about the iPhone, for example. And as you go deeper within the structure, you'll see on the left here that you can come back to a specific middle page, or even at the root of the digital garden itself. Also, if I go there, there's a few tiles where I'm simply posting the bookmark to recent post I did on a specific platform. So here it's on microblog, and you can see all the title of the articles I publish on this platform. And when you're done, you can go back home, and then boom, you are at the root of the digital garden. Also, there's a few things that I'm posting there, a list of the articles I am the most proud of. There's a summary of all the YouTube videos I'm publishing. And there's something here that I think it's interesting. If you click on this tile, you'll see a page which is about my publishing pipeline. So what this is a peek of anything upcoming that I'm working on. It can be a YouTube video, it can be an article, it can be anything. So if you look at this, you can see a peek of what's coming within my publishing pipeline. So you can see an actual article about an app that I did in the past, and you can kind of read about it even if it's not already published on the web. So I think this is cool. I like the idea of kind of allowing people to see what's upcoming. If you care about that and you want to see what I'm working on, so this is something that you'll be able to have a peek at. So that's the publishing pipeline. You can also see something that I'm keeping an eye on. This is it can be apps that I'm looking for, maybe adding to my workflow. It can be services. There's even this kind of miscellaneous things that I'm kind of keeping an eye on, like the Steve Jobs archive. So if I click on that, I'll be going to the actual website. And you can see that the actual navigation within a complex garden is pretty easy thanks to the built-in navigation of Craft, but also you can add your own by using the deep link function of being able to paste a link to something pointing to another document. So that's for the middle section there. I have also a blog roll, which is a list of websites that I like reading often. You'll see, you'll see something like the things I want to read, or I'm actually reading. And there's also a page where you'll be able to see the things that I'm learning each week. It can be a concept, it can be a word, it can be anything. And sometimes I do write a few words about what I'm learning, and then I've put that in this section. So that's it. And for the domains of interest, that's the main objective of creating a garden, is to kind of put together a bunch of information related to your passions or your domains of interest. And so I have quite a few. I have a Apple, photography, climate change or climate crisis, privacy protection. And then there's two sections there where I can put things that don't fit actually in those domains, but I want to kind of put in within a single place. So it can be anything related to the things I find on the web while browsing the web, or things like when I'm reading articles. And I'll be also writing sometimes a few words about this specific article that I'm kind of referring in this bookmark. And if you look carefully, you see there's also a way to kind of write a note. So that's something interesting because any visitors looking at my garden can drop me a line, a comment, a question, ask me for something. And this is open to anyone who wants to kind of look into that. If something, you can just go there. You'll be able to post comment within the garden itself. This is something pretty cool. It's not all the gardens who are allowing people to post comment on that. So that's it for the actual website. So it's pretty nice navigating into this thing. I think Craft is doing a great job of allowing people to build easy to navigate gardens. On the behind the scene now is, if I open Craft itself, you'll see this. This is the actual content. It's different looking. It's wider than on the web. I think it's an issue with Craft. They don't respect this setting here. When I'm saying that I want a wide page, it's not reflected on the website. I don't know why, but this is an issue, I think. And somehow I think it's better looking within Craft itself, but it's a matter of taste, I guess. So as you might expect, it's pretty easy to make change there. I'm using a lot of tiles there with a nice background for grouping information together in groups. Also, if you want to know how I'm doing that, I'm sharing this to the web using the share document feature of Craft. This thing here is within my private space within Craft. So it means that I cannot put that under a specific domain because I'm not subscribing. This space is not under a business plan subscription. So that's another issue, but that's another story. And also the advanced option, I show the title, the author, myself. I like to show that it's being built with Craft. I don't mind showing that. And also people can follow blocks links. So this is why people can hit those link there, because I enabled the option to follow block links. And also I did enable the search engine indexing. So if you Google me, you should be able to find the digital garden that you are seeing right now, because I am allowing the search engine to crawl my content. So that's pretty much what I had to say with Craft and digital garden. I think again that Craft is a great tool for building those. It's pretty easy, it's fast. Publishing is really a frictionless experience, and this is why I'm using Craft for this purpose. I kind of forgot a couple of things that related to digital garden. The first thing is that they don't need to be online. You don't have to share them in order to be considered digital garden. You can keep them for yourself, and it's okay. It's something that I wanted to add. The other thing is that you will understand that this is something that it's pretty evolving over time. It's not always static compared to a blog, which is a list of articles that you are publishing on the web. A digital garden is something that is constantly evolving, like a real garden actually. So this is one of the things that makes the digital garden very interesting. And the other thing I wanted to share with you guys is this. If you look into the analytics, you'll see that how many people are actually visiting the garden. So how many readers in the last 30 days, how many views, and how much time they spend on average on the website when they come, and where they come from. And those analytics are available because I'm subscribing to the business plan of Craft. So that's the thing I wanted to add related to digital garden. Now, the big question, can we use Grammarly with Craft? A lot of people are requesting Grammarly to be compatible with Craft. And the answer to this question is Yes, but it depends. The first thing you have to understand is that you have to install a desktop version of Grammarly on your machine, and you have to configure that with your account online. And once it's done, you'll see there's a little thing there that is kind of floating around that says reflecting the actual mistakes or errors that you are in the area where you are. So this is the actual craft window. So if I'm doing this, I'm using craft and Grammarly to correct any errors, and you can see that I can just select this there and it will correct the error. But as you can see, the underline is still there, and it's kind of a bug. And also, if you look at here, there's a word where there's a 3L instead of 2. So this is craft actually working to suggest a new version of the word. If I go there, there's also the same kind of dotted underline, which is actual craft. It's not Grammarly. But if I click within the text block, then you'll see underlines appearing all over the place because there are a lot of errors in this text block. So let's try to correct all the words. If I click on this word there, you'll see that the word is corrected, but the underline is still there. If I go there are many errors. It needs an S, so I'll click there. If I go there, I select multipurpose, and then you see that the problem. The word has been replaced within text, but the previous characters are still there, and it's kind of messy. If I go there, anything is not aligned at all. If I go and select mistake, then it's becoming kind of a lot of, you see the problem? Okay, so that's why, because I'm using the desktop version of Grammarly. If you want to be able to work and make Grammarly work perfectly with Craft, you'll need to switch to the web version of Craft. So let's jump in here. If I do the same thing within the web page, so as you can see here, I'm in my web version of Craft, so the errors has been corrected, but let's do the same thing. This phrase is fully full of errors for some reason. If I do the change, you see that things are changing dynamically. There are many more errors for multi-phrase, more mistake, some issues. So as you can see, the underlines are disappearing. There is no alignment errors. There is no visual glitches. So it's working much better. And here the text block is highlighted because in the desktop version of the document, I was in this editing this portion. So I'll go back. So if I click within the text block here, I can see that I can change the errors, and everything is working as expected. So in summary, if you want to use Grammarly with Craft, consider using the web version of Craft. So do all your writing first on the desktop version if you like, but once you're done and you want to correct and make sure that your text is perfect, switch to the web version of Craft. So that's it for today's video. I hope you liked it. I hope you learned a few things about Digital Garden and how you can use Craft to create those and maintain yours. I hope you learned a few things also related to using Grammarly with Craft. That's it for today. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to subscribe if you're not already doing so, and like the YouTube video if you liked it. Thanks again for watching, and see you guys for another one. Bye.